Guess who got a new phone? You're gonna see a lot more Instagram pictures, so you should follow me on there if you haven't already. So today I wanted to do a quick Q&A. I asked on Facebook like what they wanted to ask me or do in a video or want me to discuss. So I got a lot of great questions, but unfortunately I can't do them all, at least not in the time frame that I'm looking for. But a lot of them ask pretty much almost the same questions, just different wording. So I'll try to do as many as possible and as quickly as possible as well, if that's all possible. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first question is by Asher Kofer. He asks, when did you first notice any changes? I think my first change came like 24 hours later after I got my first T shot. My body odor definitely was a bit strange to me because I was working out and I came home and I was just giving off a more foul odor, and even my parents caught it and they were like, that's a little strange, were you working out too much? And at that time, like, my parents didn't know I was on T. They knew I was gonna get on T, but they didn't know it was the day before, and they thought it was gonna be October 22nd, but it was October 8th, right when I met with the doctor and signed those forms in. Basically got my prescription for T and also my first T shot, so they were a little suspicious as to why I was having a different odor. But yeah, body odor was the first thing, and a little tenderness of my bottom situation. Jason Adams Sella asks, what became your favorite part of being on T, be it a physical change or a social change? I'm sorry, I'm not reading it exactly right, but that's how I understand it. My favorite part of being on T was like my voice dropping, and thankfully it dropped pretty quick. If you see my last video, if I showed you the timeline, like every 2 weeks I would record a new audio recording, basically saying the date I recorded it and like what time I recorded and everything, and you will definitely hear a drop in like 2 weeks. And it wasn't noticeable until like 3 months in, when everybody else was like thinking, oh, you must be sick, take some orange juice or get some vitamin C or something. So yeah, that was definitely my most favorite change. I love that. I sounded very feminine before, so yeah. Robert Garcia asks, has your temperament changed drastically? Like, do you get angry faster? I can't say that I get angrier faster or my personality changed drastically. I'm definitely a bit more outgoing, but my temperament pretty much stays the same, where I will definitely hide away from people that I don't know, or if I seem to be very cautious of people I don't know. But I'm definitely open up a little more. I'm definitely warm up to people a little more. But otherwise, as for getting angry, I'd actually mellowed out. Because like, I used to be known in the family as the little devil who could, and I would literally just pop my temper just like that. And now I'm a lot more mellowed out, and I definitely calmed down a lot more. But in the beginning I did snap at people a little more, but that was just like the hormones like trying to level out. Anybody who says like they get angrier faster is basically has some anger issues that were already there, and being on T, it kind of exacerbated a little bit. But it's something that they should be getting under control, because having hormones or testosterone in your body is no excuse for that kind of behavior. Ben Carlson asked, did dysphoria ease any when changes started happening on T? I mean, it definitely went down a little more. Like, I didn't really have that much dysphoria because I basically would like stay all holed up in my room, and I would generally never go out. It's kind of like a caterpillar being stuck in a cocoon and they don't come out until they're a butterfly. So I'm not at the butterfly stage yet, but I definitely go out more. Like around 7-8 months I started going out. I started to like hang out with people and basically make plans, but otherwise I didn't really have that much dysphoria, because most of it was social dysphoria, how people perceive me, not so much bodily dysphoria. Like, I already saw myself as the person I was, I just wanted other people to see it. It's not a question of like I was born in the wrong body, I hate my body. It's mostly like how others perceive me. And it's still work in progress. Like, transition never ends. Everybody has this idea that it ends, and it really isn't. You transition one way or another, whether you're trans or not. Casey Colston asks, are you taken more seriously by family members, other people that may have not been so supportive in the beginning, now that you're further into your transition? First of all, my biggest supporter is my uncle. He's the one who facilitated this intervention around 6 months on T when everybody else would literally not even look at me or even gender me correctly or even say my name correctly. I'm always referred to as my birth middle name, she, her, everywhere, until my uncle was like, no, this has to change, and he sat everybody down in our first ever family intervention, and everybody did a complete 360 after that. I was floored. Like the next day, everybody was just saying Damien, 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 he, him, his, hijo, and they stopped saying hija, and I was just like, wow. But now I'm not really trying to open the new can of worms again of like getting people to say they, them. It's already hard enough for them because in Spanish, to my knowledge, I don't think there's a way for them to use they, them. Sam Hummel asked top 5 favorite movies. Okay, so a lot of people are gonna get confused because most of the movies that I like, a lot of people has not seen them, but I'll say them anyways. My first one would have to be Some Like It Hot. The next one is Metropolis. The next one is the Star Wars series. I love Iron Man. And the last one has to be Ferris Bueller's Day Off. For those who don't know, I'm a total retro film enthusiast. I grew up with my grandma and most of my films were old classic movies. Like the Turner Classic Movie channel was like one of my favorites, and I would watch movies there all the time, commercial free. It was the bomb. Phoenix Wolf asks, what advice would you have for those still in the closet? I could sit here and just give you general advice, but it really depends on your situation. If you're in a situation where you're living with unaccepting people, or you feel like they would be very transphobic towards you, violent or emotional or otherwise, I would definitely start buckling down and getting the money to move out of that situation and get yourself in a situation where you're not only safe but are surrounded by supportive people who respect who you are, your pronouns, your preferred name, and you do what you need to do to get everything done. Now, if you're under 18, you're still unfortunately at the mercy of your parents, unless your parents happen to be super supportive, which unfortunately not everyone's like Jazz Jennings, and that's generally not the case still. So basically you're gonna wanna like get a job, start saving up money, get your college life in order, and start making a life for yourself that may not include your parents, who may or may never come around when you finally take the chance to come out to them at some point in your life if you feel like you need to. So you have to like be careful of the fact that you might lose friends, lose family members, and that support system you used to always have where people said, I'll support you no matter what, and then you come out with this trans thing and everybody's like, oh yeah, apparently we didn't really mean forever. So you got to be prepared for the times that you may be you against the world, but there's really never you against the world. It's basically you and other trans people who love and support you against everyone else who isn't getting with the program. So all in all, I would advise that you save up money, get out if you feel like they're not supportive, or if they are, basically somehow get a way to come out, whether it's by letter, talking to them in person, or sending an email, or even making a video. Hey, it worked for some people, right? Kaden Haney asks, since identifying as non-binary recently, have you regretted fully transitioning to male? Would you have preferred a more androgynous appearance? I don't regret going on C, but I do somewhat feel like I should have went on a low dose and stayed that way, because when I first started out, I was on a half dose. I was like, I think it was 0.25 milligram, no, 0.25 milliliters every 2 weeks, and I could have just stayed that way. But then I told like around my second month on T, I was like, nope, like let's raise it up to the full dose. But I had to lower it then because it turns out I was on the high end of the T range that I was supposed to be on, so they had me lower it. So basically, I don't regret going on T at all. It definitely worked out for me, and for me, non-binary is getting to a place where you're very comfortable with yourself outside what society and traditional gender roles tell you to, so you don't even have to be transgender to identify as non-binary. I feel like a lot of people have that messed up. Like there's a lot of cis people out there who identify as non-binary, so I feel like I'm still FTM but non-binary still, because I don't adhere to gender binary, and that's why I use they, them instead of he, him. And that's a challenge in of itself, because I can't even come out with my parents with that kind of thing, because Spanish is a gendered language, and it's really hard to not like separate those two things. So it's not a hard concept, but I feel like I have to explain myself to everybody because I feel like they don't understand. And they feel like you can either be male or female, you can't be anything else. There's no third gender or genderless or whatever identity that falls under the non-binary or trans umbrella, so yeah. Okay, last question by EJ Alexandre Dwelly. I hope I'm saying that right. This person asks, what are the bad side effects? I mean, there's no really bad side effects that I could say. They're more like risks, like I'm at a higher risk of like diseases associated with being men and on testosterone, like increased risk of heart disease or cardiovascular problems or high blood pressure, because you know your blood thickens on tea, and that's why they say it's good to donate, because I think you have a lot more of it and that might clog your blood and basically have a harder time with heart problems. And also, like they say, you're also at higher risk for like cholesterol because your cholesterol is higher in men than in women. So I would say the risk, not so much bad side effects, because if you're taking tea legally and you're getting monitored regularly by your endocrinologist or primary care physician, there should be like minimal risk of testosterone doing anything bad to your body, because if it's monitored, which it should be, everybody should be getting monitored regularly, whether it's like an annual checkup or whatever, you should not really have any bad side effects unless you have any diseases that might be exacerbated by tea. But even then, they'll be putting you on a very low dose to start off with, and if they see no problems, it might raise it up, and if there's any problems that arise, they may adjust it so it's not exacerbating any bad effects. So if you're monitored, there's generally nothing to worry about. Like most people tend to complain like changes aren't happening fast enough, or like they're not getting a certain characteristic they've been wanting from tea, like facial hair for example. And a lot of people need to remember that's genetics, and if your male members of your family aren't getting don't have like a lot of body hair, or they don't have like a bunch of facial hair, you can almost expect that is going to be the case for you. But there are exceptions. That's why I said like that's most likely what's going to happen. If male members of your family don't have great beards, you can't really expect to have a great one. But even then, there are options out there like facial hair transplants or minoxidil. Like I've been taking minoxidil for almost like 2 months now, and I actually grew in quite a nice beard, but I have the genetics to make that happen. I'm just speeding things up. Anyways, that's all the questions I'm going to answer. I'm sorry if I didn't get to yours, but if you ask it again next time, I'll definitely get down to it. So I hope you guys enjoy this Q&A, and I will see you guys real soon, okay? Take care.